and welcome to another FAQ Monday. I'm your host, Fluff, and today I'm rocking the cold brew. I'm doing something a little different. This episode is not sponsored by Starbucks, but I do love the black cold brew. It's delicious. Yeah, I don't know. Decided to switch it up for Monday's sake. First question. I'm thinking of getting a TC Sentry to cure some buzz on my Jazzmaster. Do you find it sucks tone? And do you know if there's a tone print to eradicate 60 cycle hum? I mean, I'm sure there is a tone print for specifically 60 cycle hum, but to answer your main question, no, the TC Sentry does not suck any tone whatsoever, and it is quite good at eliminating the buzz. You may also want to check out the MXR noise clamp, which is kind of what that is kind of geared towards, not necessarily a noise gate, but it's to really eliminate like single coil buzz and stuff like that. But yeah, the TC Sentry will be amazing. And obviously, as you know from your question, you can go in and you can gate specific frequency ranges instead of like an entire, like a regular traditional gate. You can gate specific frequency ranges instead of your whole entire signal, which is something that I don't think any other noise gate has. But yeah, I mean, the long-term solution really is trying some pickups that don't buzz, because there's plenty of aftermarket Jazzmaster pickups that are amazing and don't buzz. But if you are really happy with the sound of your current pickups, yeah, I think a TC Sentry would probably be your best bet. Where's the best place to get beanies? You know, I actually get a ton of questions and comments and emails about beanies and my beanie. I've kind of switched it up recently. I found a better brand than the one I was using for a long time. For years and years and years, I've been a staunch Neff guy. They're a very common beanie company. I think they're one of the biggest beanie companies, if I'm not mistaken. And that is Neff, N-E-F-F. I like their beanies, but they don't seem to really last. And also they stretch out and they don't really go back to the way they were after you wash them. And I don't know, it was kind of disappointing. They seem to have changed how they make their beanies. I could be mistaken on that. I also have a massively huge noggin. So beanies for me are very difficult to find. Anything that actually looks decent or feels comfortable and not super mega tight, that's a rare find. That's what we call a unicorn. And I recently switched. I went on Amazon of all places, and the beanies I've been wearing lately are from Tough Headwear, and they're half the cost of the Neff beanies that I used to get, because the old ones were like $10 depending, and these are $4.99 all day long with like free Amazon Prime shipping. I'll link down below if you guys want to check them out. But yeah, I really, really like these beanies. You can wash them a gazillion times. They don't really stretch. I mean, they do stretch out, but if you take it off and let it sit for a couple hours, it'll go back to the way it was. Really good beanie. Also, a lot of people are angry that I wear beanies inside. Thought I'd mention that. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Do you watch the Marvel movies? Do you have a favorite? Yes, I do watch the Marvel movies. I think they're some of the best storytelling in modern movie cinema history, because I mean, they have such a huge amount of source material to pull from decades worth of comic books. So it makes sense that the storytelling would be excellent and refined and rich. And with Endgame having currently taken over the world, yeah, everyone has Marvel fever, which is pretty cool. I was a huge comic book nerd in the early 90s when I was a kid. When I was about, I don't know, from like 10 to 15, 16, I was mega into comic books. I liked Image and Valiant especially. And then I started playing guitar, and then I kind of wasn't into comics anymore. But to answer your question, yes, I'm a huge fan of the Marvel movies. If I had to pick just one, honestly, it's probably Infinity War. I love how dark Infinity War is. And I love that, the spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Infinity War, although it's been a few years, so if you haven't seen it, that's your fault. I love that the bad guy wins at the end. I love that. I love that it wasn't super predictable. And I love the interweaving of the multiple story arcs from the various other movies. I also really, really liked Ant-Man and Wasp. I love Paul Rudd. I'm a huge Paul Rudd fan. I don't know, man. All of them are so good. I don't know if I could Man, that's tough. I'm gonna have to say Infinity War because I do often watch that, like when I'm on a long flight or something like that. I have it on my iPad, so I will watch Infinity War because it's a great time killer. Because it just 3 hours will go by, or 2.5 hours will just go by just like that. But yeah, I don't know. Picking one's just kind of tough. Comment below. What are your guys' favorite Marvel movies? Favorite record label? Oh man, I don't know if everyone does this, but when I was growing up and when I would fixate on a genre or bands, I would really dive deep into the labels. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Back in the 90s, I was really into bands like Good Riddance and AFI and No Use for a Name, and Pennywise. So naturally, on Lagwagon. So naturally, I was super into the Fat Records label and all the Fat Records bands and all of the Epitaph bands. Also Nitro Records. I'm trying to think of some other labels. Fearless, Fueled by Ramen, Nitro, Kung Fu. I mean, I was really into like the punk rock stuff, so I would say my favorite label of all time is probably Fat Wreck or Epitaph. Probably Epitaph. But I just have so much respect for how they do things and how they treat their bands, especially growing up and becoming an old man and being friends with a lot of people who work with those labels. Yeah, they're awesome to their bands. They're not the stereotypical record labels, and I think that's what's most appealing to me in a record label. So yeah, Fat Wreck, Epitaph. I don't know, it would kind of depend. Modern Epitaph, vintage Fat Wreck. How about that? Favorite lunchbox amp at the moment? Oh man, there are so many lunchbox amps and mini amps. I love the whole craze, but you can kind of see it right here. It's the Mini Friedman Jerry Cantrell JJ head, which you guys have not heard yet. It has not been on the channel. I literally just got it a few days ago. It's probably my favorite mini amp, I'll be honest with you. Although the 6505 MH is also a stellar amp, as is the orange OR15. But at the moment, yeah, probably the JJ. It's just, oh, you'll see. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but yeah, you'll see. It's starting to realize I'm a big fan of the 5150 sound. How does the 6505 compare to the 5150? They are different. I did make a video a few years back comparing them, an original 5150 and a 6505 Plus, and a mini head, a 6505 MH. They are different. And anyone who tells you they're the same is wrong, although I don't think many people actually try to claim that they're the same. The original 5150 is a surly, drunken young person that hasn't really experienced any huge pitfalls in life. And the low end is just out of control so easily, and there's so much gain on tap. And it cleans, it doesn't care about cleans. You shouldn't want cleans if you're rocking a 5150. The 6505 is, to my ear, a little tighter in the low end, and it has this real nice upper mid-range thing going on, and I like that, especially for the palm mute stuff. The original 5150 is actually quite scooped, and the 6505 and the 6505 Plus are definitely a little bit more refined than the original guys. If I had to pick one, I would probably pick a 6505 Plus or a 5152. I still really want a 5152 Mark II. I mean, yeah, that's how I would describe them in a nutshell. You can also find the 6505s for pretty cheap on the used markets like Reverb and eBay. I mean, you can find them for $600-700 all day long, and they're a huge bang for the buck. And I highly recommend them. Either one that you find, if you find one and come across one for a good deal, definitely scoop it up. What do you think about hollow body guitars? Do you have one? I've had some semi-hollow ones. Oh no, I did have a hollow body. I had a D'Angelico once for a little while. It was cool, I just never used it. And the idea of a hollow body guitar is really appealing, but spending a couple of $1,000s on one and just letting it sit and not using it in the context of this channel, I don't know, but they are cool. Hollow bodies definitely have a very specific sound, and honestly, they're the voice of rock. I mean, Chuck Berry back in the day, that's all he used was hollow bodies. He didn't use solid body Gibsons, he used hollow bodies. So, I don't know, hollow bodies are cool though. You know, Ted Nugent, and I could go on and on about a bunch of guys that have used hollow bodies in rock and roll contexts. But, I don't know, I guess I don't have one because I just, I don't know, they don't really have a place in what I do. But if you definitely want to check one out, definitely check one out. There's some goodness to be had there. And now, Fluff reads a tweet. Dude, remember when everyone had chain wallets? I remember. My suggestion to you this week is to check out the B-Sides release for Record Store Day from Beartooth. 2 songs that were recorded during the Disease record. And they're awesome. They're bangers, like anything Beartooth puts out. And you would, if you like Beartooth, you would definitely like these 2 songs. It's all over Amazon and Spotify and iTunes and all the usual streaming services. So definitely check it out if you are a Beartooth fan. All the bookable links down below in the description. You've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.